The court receives 8,000 petitions a year, and they only agree to hear 80 of them. And so the odds of getting there are just so enormous. When I got into the courtroom, I just had to take a few minutes to geek out, honestly, a little bit. There is a sense of history, the sense of the cause, the sense of all the people, from our donors to our colleagues to our families, who have sacrificed to make this kind of work possible. You really feel that weight going in, but also it's just a pleasure to kind of represent that going forward and to put one more brick in the wall defending the religious liberty of people across the country.
For 30 years, Becket has defended religious freedom for people of all faiths. And in just the last 15 years, Becket has represented clients before the Supreme Court in 11 cases, with a unanimous winning record.
Here we had this order of nuns that have been serving elderly poor people for over a century, and they were about to be crushed by the most powerful government on earth.
The Green family, who started and still runs Hobby Lobby, was willing to put everything on the line. It was a choice between following their faith or potentially losing this business that they had built over the decades. It was such an inspiration to me. I mean, how could you stop, right? How could you not want to fight for clients who are willing to have that kind of courage and put everything on the line?
And I remember my commute after work each day would take me past the Supreme Court. I would jog home from the office, praying for mercy for a win in Hosanna Tabor. And everybody thought, 5-4, you're gonna win, you're gonna lose. Then when the decision came out, it was unanimous. Nobody predicted unanimous. It was unanimous win for religious liberty. And I remember just every commute after that for weeks, running by the Supreme Court, just going, unanimous. It's just one of the best moments of my life.
One of the big things about a Supreme Court win, it's not so much where you are when you find out, it's what you do next. And every single time, what we do next is we take that win and we plow it into the next case. Frankly, into the next 3 or 4 or 5 cases.
Everything at Becket is done strategically and with an eye toward setting precedent and changing the law.
That when a court issues a decision, it's resolving the case for those parties in that case, yes, but it's also laying down a legal principle that other courts have to follow in its wake.
Every win can have an enormous ripple effect that impacts cases that arise in a lot of different contexts all over the country.
We don't have time to litigate every religious liberty fight in the country. Instead, we need to pick the right case at the right time and bring it to the right court.
And when we win the right cases, we're building on each other, building precedent that stacks up, that builds a fabric that protects people of all faiths all across the country. And every case works together, building toward that goal.
Because Hosanna Tabor was the right kind of case, 415 cases in courts across the country have relied on its reasoning to strengthen religious freedom. Of course, Hosanna Tabor is just one case. Here's Fulton v. Philadelphia, Holt v. Hobbs, and Hobby Lobby. All told, Becket's Supreme Court cases alone have been relied on over 4,000 times and counting in courts across the country.
Our cases are making such a strong impact on the law that the Ninth Circuit recently referred to our wins in Fulton and in the COVID cases as setting the bedrock for how courts should think about the Free Exercise Clause. And that's our goal, more bedrock.
The cause of liberty isn't something you can sleep on. Now is the time to take that foundation that we've built in the law for over a decade and turn it into long-term gains for religious liberty.
All of these legal victories, these precedents, they're like roots in the ground. They're the thing that you depend on to become strong when harder times come.
Our goal is to build out wins that have deep roots and will stand the test of time. And that means we want other courts to rely on those cases over and over again. And we want free people to be able to live out those rights and carry out those rights and raise their children and run their schools and do all the things that people are entitled to do. The more people do those things, the more courts rely on those things. And the deeper those roots get, the harder it will be to take them down And that's what we want to build. We want to build something that lasts.